Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Chapin.
And hi, I'm Courtney Friel. We begin with breaking news at 11. Police remain posted in a South LA intersection following a second night of protests.
Yeah, demonstrators there angry, of course, about the deadly shooting of a young black man at the hands of the LAPD. Steve Koosh is live in South LA. He's got the latest for us. Steve?
Rick and Court, we had about 100 protesters out here throughout the day. Just within the last 10 minutes or so, the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department gave everybody the evacuation order, saying that an unlawful assembly has been declared, and now they're pushing down into the street to arrest anybody who does not disperse. You can see this is the area where police shot and killed Carnell Snell, 18-year-old Carnell Snell, yesterday. They've now marched down to the very neighborhood where the shooting happened, where many of the protests have stemmed from, and they've told everybody that if they do not disperse, they do not go back into their homes, they will be arrested. They started off marching down Western Avenue and about 106th, 107th Street. I saw them arrest at least 4 people so far. A few of them members of this community, a few of them just part of protest groups. By the looks of it, there are several dozen officers out here, all of them in full riot gear with their batons in their hands. Greg, if we push in on these guys right in front of us, they've got assault-style rifles, possibly with pepper balls, maybe with real ammunition in them. And we're kind of just waiting to see what unfolds right here. The house where you see where we saw those candles in front of, the house where all these officers are standing in front of right now, this is where that initial shooting took place earlier. We're trying to listen to what the commander is telling these protesters. Most of these people right now, they're just members of this community, so I'm not sure if police are going to go all the way forward and arrest these neighbors in their own yards. Let's go to the story of what this whole situation looked like earlier today. A young black man is killed by the LAPD in South Los Angeles. And while much of his community is trying to figure out why, some are turning their neighborhood streets into a show. CJ! 18-year-old Carnell Snell Jr., CJ, as everyone called him, was shot and killed in a confrontation with police Saturday afternoon in the backyard of his neighbor's house.
The officer said they fear for their life, but there's 7 bullets through a gate. So how were you fearing? What was he doing? And the bullets went from the inside of the gate to the outside. So that means he's not doing the shooting. That was officer shooting.
Immediately after the shooting, neighbors, friends, and family began screaming and cursing at police. It continued through Sunday night. Miles away, it was LA Mayor Eric Garcetti's house that received some damage. Someone pelted the mayor's home and vehicle with eggs.
When you hear about one person getting shot in injustice, people are going to come from every block around here.
The situation all began when officers spotted a possible stolen vehicle on the road and tried to pull it over. A car chase started. Soon after, police say 3 people got out of the car in South LA and ran. CJ was one of them. The driver and 1 passenger got away. Witnesses told us they saw CJ running with police behind him. He hopped a fence into a neighbor's backyard, and then there were several gunshots. Police say they did find a gun at the scene, although they did not say if CJ fired it or pointed it at them.
He was a respectful young man to me and my family. I know that if you knew him, you would grow to love him.
CJ was the type of man that if he went from door to door, every elder would say, he was just too respectful. You know, let me help you with your groceries. Do you need me to help you with anything, water your grass? He was just a very thoughtful, bright young man. And what happened yesterday was just injustice.
And it's that perceived injustice that has brought out so many of these officers here tonight to contend with the members of this community. Again, where this is all unfolding is the spot where 18-year-old Carnell Snell, CJ, was shot and killed. His own house just 2 homes down from where this is all happening. The entire neighborhood is now out now. Everyone's got their cell phones up waiting to see what's happening. And it looks like we had a few people go forward and talk with one of the commanding officers. And the LAPD at this time appears to be pulling back, moving away from where the initial shooting happened yesterday afternoon. They appear to be getting out of this area. They're going to leave the neighbors where they are for now. They're going to let them stay in front of their houses and their yards. Again, we saw at least 4 arrests take place earlier. They were about a block away from this section. That's where the first arrests happened. So you still see members of this community cussing and swearing at the police officers right now. But for the time being, it looks like no more arrests are going to be taking place. The LAPD officers marching back out of this South Los Angeles neighborhood. And we're going to stick around and wait and see what else unfolds. But for now, aside from those 4 arrests, there appears to be a peaceful resolution to this entire situation. Again, Courtney and Rick, we're going to stay out here in South Los Angeles, keep an eye on everything, and bring updates to you guys on KTLA.com and on our Facebook pages if anything changes. But for now, live in South Los Angeles, I'm Steve Koosh, KTLA 5 News.
Yeah, keep us in the loop. Steve, thanks so much.
Violence stops a KKK rally in Orange County even before it starts. The clash all caught on camera as 3 people are stabbed and more than a dozen arrested. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the News at 10. I'm Rick Chamber.
And hi, I'm Courtney Friel. The rally was planned for a park in Anaheim.
Yeah, but the protesters showed up early and confronted the other group. Steve Koosh is live for us in Anaheim tonight. He's got the story. Steve?
This is a racially diverse neighborhood, Rick and Courtney. So when neighbors here got the word that the KKK was coming, they prepared to give them a rude welcoming. And they did. Fights broke out. 3 people were stabbed, including one person who may have been stabbed with the tip of a Confederate flag. 12 arrests were made in all, including 5 members of the KKK. Got a warning for you. This video you're about to see is violent. Racist attitudes and anti-bigotry collided in Anaheim Saturday afternoon when a Ku Klux Klan rally erupted in violence. A group of KKK members announced they were holding a rally at Anaheim's Pearson Park. A larger group of anti-Klan counter-protesters got there first. When the KKK pulled up, tempers flared.
Don't hurt him, sir! Sir, don't hurt him! Don't hurt him! I left you!
A bloody fight broke out.
When the KKK members arrived in a vehicle, maybe 5 of them in one vehicle, that a group of the counter-protesters immediately attacked them as they exited the vehicle. That resulted in a stabbing right off to the left here by the fire hydrant.
The stabbing victim, a protester, was stuck by the pointed end of a flagpole from either a Confederate or American flag. You can see here a KKK member trying to defend himself with the American flag while a Confederate one lays on the ground. Now, it's not clear who attacked who first, but several videos showed protesters punching and rushing the KKK.
That ultimately led to a melee in the street that stretched almost a whole city block down Cypress Street, where a number of other fights broke out.
We came here for peaceful protest of White Lives Matter, and we get jumped by...
I think you had to expect something. It's crazy for them to even come over here where there's, a majority of minorities here.
It's important to remember that this is the Klan's message, as reprehensible as many of us may feel it is, it's protected by the First Amendment, and we can't be getting in the middle of stopping them from doing that.
To me, it's just old. It's like we're at a different time in the world, that we got to be moving forward, and this is not helping,
The Ku Klux Klan actually has a very long history with the city of Anaheim. Way back in the 1920s, several members of the Anaheim City Council were active KKK members. In recent years, the KKK's role in Southern California has been pretty random. Oftentimes, they'll be leaving flyers and information packets about themselves in various neighborhoods and cities around the area. Every time, their actions are usually never well received. Courtney and Rick, I'll throw it back to you guys.
Steve Koosh live in Anaheim. Thanks so much for that.
Possibly more. They're going to be sending in crews to searching for more possible victims, with now up to 100 structures burning to the ground. KTLA 5 Steve Koosh and his photographer Victor Vargas, you may have seen, barely escaped a backfire that was set by firefighters trying to defend homes from the very fire that we're looking at.
But despite fire crews' best efforts, dozens of homes and other structures have been lost, with 1,500 structures threatened at this point. KTLA 5 Steve Koosh continues our live team coverage tonight, live in Lake Isabella, where residents are reacting to the devastation. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Court and Mark, if you guys ever wondered just how hot some of these fires burn, let me show you this. This is melted metal. This came from the engine of a vehicle that caught fire out here. The losses in this community are literally everywhere. Oh, that's heavy. This homeowner right here, he didn't just lose his house. He lost a truck, a boat, 4 jet skis, and the neighbor's house right across the street over here, also completely destroyed. Just a snapshot of some of the miles of devastation.
I saw the smoke come over the hill, and within 20 minutes it was from Isabella. It was in our backyard, and all hell broke loose. I mean, it was just a firestorm.
Once flames from the Erskine wildfire reached neighborhoods here in Lake Isabella, homeowners had 2 choices: run or fight. Jerry Seitzma got his family out and then chose to fight.
Saving buddies' houses, telling people to get out. Some people in the houses didn't even know what was going on. They all thought it was still on the other side of the hill. It was just smoke. And I said, no, it's here.
It was chaos, according to neighbors. Firefighters had their abilities and resources pushed to their limits Thursday. There were too many homes and too many fires. We saw firsthand just how quick the wind could push the fire. An area law enforcement had our crew waiting with other neighbors was overtaken by flames in only a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sit down. Close the door. Close the door. Sit down. The hood. Okay, got it.
Whoa! We got out all right, but it was a close call. We were in an area that was supposed to be safe. But when you're in a wildfire zone, nothing is ever 100% safe. Thousands of people evacuated from the fire learned that lesson. So far, 100 homes and structures are gone.
You get so exhausted you can't do anything, and you want to help, and then you look over and your friend's house is burning, you see the neighbor's house burning, and you can't do nothing. There was no water pressure. Yeah. It was hard. I mean, it's tough. I got numerous friends up here. They lost all their homes. All my friends. They have no home. And that's hard.
It definitely has been an emotional past 24 hours for everybody out here. Homeowners are still at this time not being allowed back into their community to check on their homes. The waiting and not knowing if their houses are still here, well, that's very stressful. Live in Lake Isabella, I'm Steve Cooge, KTLA 5 News.
We're following breaking news in Whittier tonight. That's where a massive tree fell on top of a wedding party, killing 1 person.
Yeah, several other people are still injured tonight, including a little 4-year-old girl. Let's go right out to Steve Cooge. He's at the scene tonight. He's got the latest for us. Hello, Steve.
This really seems to be a 1 in a million type accident. A wedding guest told me this was like something out of a horror movie. A wedding party, all taking pictures under this tree when it comes crashing down on top of them here at Penn Park in Whittier. That's the tree right there. It's been chopped up into several pieces. Firefighters had to do that with chainsaws to free people that were trapped underneath it. Until further notice, Penn Park is closed indefinitely.
We just heard like something crack like really hard and people were yelling.
A day at the park turns into a day of tragedy.
A total tragedy. I mean, these people are just starting a new life together.
A wedding party, complete with bride, groom, and guests, were at Whittier's Penn Park taking photos Saturday afternoon. Suddenly, a huge eucalyptus tree gave way, sending branches weighing tons of pounds crashing down on top of everyone in the area. At more than 60 feet tall, with a heavy canopy, witnesses said this falling tree had the effect of a massive fly swatter.
There was like a man like really hurt, a lady that's like they were trying to help her like breathe. She couldn't breathe. There was like a little girl, a baby, like she was stuck in there. And one of my uncles, like they tried to like pull her out.
A dozen or more people were buried under the branches and leaves of the tree. Some crawled out, others were pulled out by Good Samaritans. When the LA County Fire Department arrived at the park, they found 6 people still trapped.
There's a very large tree with multiple trunks, so our guys got their saws out, their chainsaw started them up, and had to break down that tree piece by piece in order to get those people out.
Paramedics raced them all to hospitals. Officials say one of the victims, an older woman, died in the ambulance as it was driving. Search dogs were brought in to make sure there wasn't anyone else still stuck and hidden under the enormous tree and its branches.
Trees in this neighborhood have been falling, and I think maybe there's some need for inspection to prevent tragedies in the future.
And the big question tonight, how do we prevent tragedies like this happening again? Well, we got to figure out what caused it in the first place. That's under investigation right now. But as it turns out, our recent weather and our drought in California may have played a part in it. You see, because of the drought, you have old trees like this. The roots go up closer to the surface of the soil to collect water more easily. And then when we have big rainstorms like we did the past couple of days, the soil on the top gets extra loose, which increases the chances that trees like this can topple over. Firefighters and city officials say they're going to get to the bottom of what really happened out here. Live in Whittier, I'm Steve Kuj, KTLA 5 News.
An officer and a suspect both injured after a head-on collision and a shootout in Lawndale. Let's go live to KTLA 5's Steve Kuj. He's live at the scene with new details on this story. Steve.
Mark, when we last talked, officers were looking for multiple suspects. Now they tell us there's just one suspect, the man they shot. SWAT officers were tracking down a man who was wanted for multiple serious arrest warrants and assaulting an officer about a week ago. They found him right here in Lawndale at this Best Western Hotel. This is located near the intersection of Hawthorne Boulevard and Marine Avenue, a very busy section of the city. This right here is where the officer-involved shooting happened. Officers tell us the suspect who they shot tried to crash his way through Redondo Beach police officers. A witness told us after that he heard around 20 gunshots. This here is the suspect being loaded into an ambulance after officials say he was shot in the chest by an officer. Our Sky 5 helicopter captured some really intense video from above in the air. There are multiple bullet holes, as you can see, in the windshields of the vehicles at this Best Western Hotel. One of the vehicles shot a police SUV. The airbags in the cruiser went off. Unknown right now if that was from the gunfire or the officer being crashed into by the suspect. The shooting took place, as you can see, in the parking lot of the hotel. Right now, not clear if this was a shootout between the officers and the suspect or if the police officer and the suspect was shooting at them when the guy drove his SUV at him. We've been told one officer was injured during this action. Witnesses said it happened during the crash. All guests and employees at this Best Western Hotel had to be evacuated. Here is how officers described what happened when Redondo Beach police encountered the suspect.
They attempted to effect a traffic stop. The suspect made some maneuvers with his vehicle and ultimately rammed the car that was occupied by a uniformed lieutenant from the Redondo Beach Police Department.
I pulled up to see a number of officers undercover pulled at the Best Western Hotel. About 19 shots brought them out. You could hear all 19, about 18, 19 shots go off.
The investigation still going on right here. Anytime there's an officer-involved shooting, the police departments and sheriff's departments really bring out all the resources to get to the bottom of what exactly happened. Now, Mark, Lou, one of the big questions we have is, why was Redondo Beach PD involved? Redondo Beach, the city, is nearby, but this is Lawndale, and Lawndale is under the jurisdiction of the LA County Sheriff's Department. A lot of questions still left in this one, so stick with KTLA for the very latest. Live in Lawndale, I'm Steve Kuj, KTLA 5 News.